The bastards actually did it. They put a cliffhanger right at the end and they didn't show us the sacrifice. All the theories, all the talk, all the discussion, just a bait and switch us like that. But don't worry too much, because this preview might actually give it away. So without further ado, let's break down this preview and actually try and resolve this huge cliffhanger they left us with.
You are Ivar the boneless son of Ragnar.
I am the god Ivar.
So we've definitely seen on the episodes we've had already that Ivar is putting himself out as this god figure, this deity. He's not just some ruler or king, he's divine. And history reflects that when people of power claim themselves above religion or make themselves gods, the people who are in charge of those religious traditions generally don't like it. Whether it's Alfred going over the church's head or Ivar saying he is a god. So I expect that the seer will have a few choice words to say about Ivar's proclamation of divine rule. We hear the seer say, "You are Ivar the boneless, son of Ragnar," clearly showing that he's trying to remind him that he's just a mortal being, the son of a human and a human himself. I think with all the power, confidence and delusion that Ivar's got at the moment, he thinks he can control the seer and get him to endorse him as this god figure, and this is obviously not going to work out. So this conflict between the seer and Ivar I've been predicting for a while now, I've been guessing for a while now, so that's why when I saw the promo for the last episode where they had a hooded figure brought out to be sacrificed, I was like, maybe that's a seer. That was my top prediction. And I still think there's pretty high chance that Ivar will kill the seer, or the seer will die very soon, either in this episode or the next. But I don't think he'll be the sacrifice anymore, mainly because the hooded person has a quite new, clean hood, where his one is very holy and worn. 2, because we saw him getting burned on the ground and there's wood like I'd said the first time, so it didn't really make sense to what we had with the hanging up person. And 3, we get this big reveal right now in the preview.
People of Kattegat, we have a great sacrifice. This is Ragnar. Vikings.
So as we saw at the end of the episode we just got, Ivar's gathered up the entire townfolk, the village, pulled them out of their beds like the tyrant he is, and have forced them to watch this big spectacle he has planned, the sacrifice. We've seen over these episodes how Ivar really wants to consolidate his rule and power long term. He saw Harold hanging around as a threat to him and something he needed to get rid of. He knew not having a wife or an heir was a danger to him, and he also knows having the loose ends of Bjorn, Ragnar and Ubbe out there is a huge threat to his legitimacy as a ruler. Also, lifting himself up as a god makes it very difficult for a mere mortal person to replace him. So producing a fake Ragnar that people from afar can't tell isn't her really ties up those loose ends and makes sure that all the loyalties aren't divided in Kattegat, that everyone knows they have to back Ivar now because there is no more Ragnar to back at all. So what does this all mean for the sacrifice? Were we all debated? Was it the big name dropping? Was the fact that he wanted someone popular and well known to be the sacrifice? Or just to throw us off the scent and make us think maybe it's this character or that one or Harold? Well, maybe, because Vikings is very cheeky and I could totally see them doing that kind of shady move. But I've also got another theory, and it's a lot bigger than just what's happening on the show. Bear with me. The actor that plays Margrethe posted a video when she supposedly died in the show, talking about her character's death, how she's a little bit disappointed how she died, and that she can finally talk about it now, but that's been 2 years and she's dead. This video she posted actually got quite a bit of press, and a lot of people were like, oh, that means that Margrethe's confirmed dead. And in the episode, we even see Vixid very angry, oh, what'd you do to Margrethe? I know you killed her. But the thing is, the episode kind of skips over any scene we get with him finding the dead body or cleaning it up or dealing with it or whatever. So mad speculation, what if she didn't die? It was a dream like we were talking about before, and that this was all just kind of a nightmare in her eyes. But in fact, she was captured by Ivar, and Ivar has now dressed her up and made her look like Ragnar from afar, so he can use her to make peace in Kattegat and consolidate his power. And the dream was meant to throw us off, the active post was supposed to throw us off, Vixid's reaction was supposed to throw us off, and the big hooded reveal person was all supposed to throw us off. Now I understand there is a lot that puts holes in this theory, and there's tons of other ways you could take this. I just thought it'd be really cool if history did something that big and grandeur to fool us all, because they are conniving bastards and we all know it. So whatever happens with the sacrifice, this is a really smart idea, and making everyone come out in the middle of the night and see this happen, where they're hazed out a bit, they just get pulled out of their beds, they're a bit tired, they don't understand, like if it's way afar on a dock, making it so they can't tell the difference whether it's fake or not, and making sure that every single person sees her die. Really smart play, really gonna work to his favor. With the queen, his son, and Lagertha dead to all, his rule is confirmed. With the seer dead and no one else standing in his way, he can claim himself as god and deity for life. The fear and power he displays makes no opposition want to face him and makes his men very loyal. He's in the strongest position he'll ever be. So that's why it would be so awesome when Bjorn heads back to Kattegat and takes him on. So what is the straw that breaks the camel's back when it comes to Bjorn leaving his mother and leaving his brother? Well, the preview might give us a very easy open.
You will devise a strategy to defeat Finar's army. If you refuse, you will be killed.
If you refuse, you will be killed. Strong words, but I think it's mainly just to show his power in the courtroom. And we know for sure that Ubbe and Torvi will go along with this deal because they need the men and they want to prove themselves. Clearly, next episode isn't just going to be a strong moment for Ubbe and Torvi, but also Alfred and, of course, King Harold. It was very interesting to me how both of these brothers were quite small side characters that were just kind of a part of the raid on England. And they each kind of grew as characters to be so much more than they were when they were introduced. They are the most improved characters in the show. They really developed really nicely. Halfdan showed rebellion to his brother and went to these other awesome places and was really forming a great relationship with Bjorn. Harold really proved himself more ambitious, more capable, more smart than ever, more emotionally complex than ever. And the impact on his story is going to continue to be huge. I've talked about how Ubbe needs a testing ground almost, where he has a sub-opponent come at him before Ivar does to try and test and prove himself for Alfred, and Harold could be it. Though I think that Harold is too important of a character. When it was just the Black Danes I thought they were going to throw against him, of course he was going to snowball them. But because they're putting a major character against him, it's going to be a more complex victory. If we look back at the major teasers, we got this big fire battle where they had the walled off men and them raining down with Hickman charging with his troops. This is probably the battle they have with Harold where he has his first big defeat. But I doubt they'll kill him, and I think his story will go a lot longer than we really thought at first. So I can definitely see Ubbe having that kind of conflict and storyline with Harold. But the interesting thing is where Bjorn will lie. Bjorn has been completely against any kind of integration or assimilation into English culture or bending to Alfred's will. With Alswitz finally marrying Alfred and really cutting off any ties to Bjorn by doing so, he has no attachment with her anymore. With his brother fully converted and his mother with a priest, he is really isolated. And so his newfound brother Magnus will have quite a lot of influence on him, and he's not a fan of the English family, especially after he was kicked out. And now Alfred is threatening to kill him if he doesn't fight for him. And if I know Bjorn, he's not going to respond well to that threat. So Bjorn's set for a betrayal or some kind of escape. He could feign loyalty for Alfred and then help out Harold when the dire hour is coming and him, Harold and a bunch of men escape. We won't know for sure maybe until 2 episodes from now because I doubt they'll do it next episode, but it's definitely getting a lot more likely to happen and soon.
You can't kill me, no matter how hard you try.
So I've been getting some comments talking about why I've avoided talking about Iceland in most of my reviews. And the thing is, I kind of agree with Phil the Issues guy about how this storyline has been almost stalled for the last 3 episodes. Don't get me wrong, I love Floki, but Iceland has had very little happen in it this entire half season. So it's really great to see that might be changing in this next episode. Now we see that Avon's coming up to Floki, he's being really aggressive, he's got his axe at his neck, he's really angry with Floki. And Floki in return is kind of taunting him, saying he can't kill him no matter how hard he tries. This could mean that Iceland's finally getting to that boiling point where violence is erupting and things start changing and people start dying again. Though I would say not to get your hopes too high because they could just stall this out yet again. So I'd love to hear your thoughts about what happens with Bjorn, where he's going to go, where he's going to get his army, what about Harold and Ubbe. Also, did you feel betrayed with that cliffhanger? Because I felt betrayed. And remember, thanks for watching, and my episode review comes out real soon, so thanks. Skål!